The school bell rang throughout the hallway, signaling the start of next classes. Hugo lets out a groan. I don't want to go to class. I hate my history teacher as much as my coach in archery. Why don't you skip then? Hugo's eyes popped open. It became bright like a light bulb appearing out of his head and lighting up. Soul knows exactly what that look means. Don't tell me I'm going to skip class. How about it? Fuck this school. If they're going to treat us badly, then let's be the bad guys. A mischievous look makes its way to Hugo's face. Soul already knew what that looks mean, sighing as he did so. He turns to you, waiting for your response to Hugo's offer. The thought of skipping is quite a gamble. Your next class is with Crow in art history. But then again, your teacher will probably only do some boring-ass introduction. Missing one wouldn't hurt, would it? I'm not the type who would skip a class. Although the idea of skipping seems thrilling, you can't afford to skip this one. Who knows what important projects your teacher is going to throw at you, and you're going to end up behind just because of skipping one class. Thank you for the offer, you two, but I can't afford to miss this one. Hugo's shoulders slumped down, quite disappointed. That's all right. Maybe we can hang out next time then. Soul turns to you. Would you like me to accompany you to your next class? Of course. I appreciate that. I'll see you at the usual spot, Soul. Soul nods at Hugo before the said male walks away, waving off as he leaves. You and Soul walk through the hallway towards your next class's classroom. You couldn't help but check on Soul. He seems nervous. You look down and see that his hand is shaking. What? There's two ways that this can go, and I'm not sure which way the game means. I want to see what this is like. Don't do like the food thing from earlier. You gently wrapped your hand around his hand stopped shaking, and he went stiff. Well, there's that, at least. He eventually relaxed and intertwined his fingers with yours. This makes you smile. The walk is silent, but no words needed to be said to see the growing smile on his face. Okay? That didn't really tell me anything. You didn't bother with him anymore is such a sad thing to hear. No, I will actually, because I don't like that line. You didn't bother with him anymore. Damn. Fine. Anyway, nothing really happens, so. You finally reached the front of your classroom door. You peeked inside through the door's window and saw Crow on his usual seat already. You turned your attention back to Soul. Thank you for escorting me to my class. No, it's not a problem. His tiny smile didn't last long on his face, however. His shoulders slumped down. Though I could have wished you could come with us. Maybe next time. I would not skip a class, I'm sorry. Maybe we can hang out on a weekend or on a free schedule. Sure. Now I feel bad. His words contradict his expression as it lacks enthusiasm. Just then, the door to your classroom opened, and there you met eyes with Crow. Crow's eyes lit up once he saw you. There you are, Kit, just in time for the next class. Oh? He was about to greet you, but felt Soul's presence beside him. And who might this fellow be? A classmate of yours? You can say that. Crow, this is Soul. He's from my art class. Soul, this is Crow. A pleasure to meet you, Soul. Crow extended out his hand for Soul to shake. Soul just stared at it. A few awkward seconds passed by before he eventually took Crow's hand. Let's go, let's be nice, come on. Soul, however, wasn't regulating his strength as he gripped his Crow's hand with some words. Can we maybe not? Crow winced from the pressure but didn't say anything before Soul eventually let go of his hand. Soul then turned to you. I should be going now, Kit. I'll see you soon. I wished you would have come with. Damn. He's bullying me, making me feel bad for it. He sighed, reaching out to tuck a loose strand of hair away from your face, earning him a small blush from you. Soul turned on his heel and walked off. You looked at his retreating figure before Crow eventually tapped your shoulder. We should get going. With one last glance at Soul's retreating figure, you turned around and got inside your classroom. You got to your usual seat. Crow takes his usual seat by the window in front of your own seat, waiting for the classroom to settle down as your professor comes in. All right, class, settle down. You all better turn in this upcoming paper if you don't want to end up having no grades in your card. And that means... Your professor slams down his thin notebook, the loud slap echoing through the room. You won't be able to graduate. And don't even think about making it up to the higher class with a weak mindset. Now for today's task, I'd like you all to think of a short story based on any type of literature. Bonus points if you can source out where you got your inspiration, along with references. I'll be checking those the most. You hear a few whispers from a few of your classmates as they talk with each other. Unfortunately for them, your professor notices them as he slams his thin notebook again on his desk, making some of you jolt from your seats. Now, I can allow you all to head to the library to do your research or stay here and brainstorm. You may begin. Crow stands up from his seat, gathering his things, then turning towards you. I'm going to the library. Would you like to join me? You give him a nod, earning a smile from him as he makes his way towards the exit. Crow waits for you as you gather your things before leaving the classroom and to the library. Unlike lunchtime, where everyone is free, the library contains only a few students, some either doing their student duties while some doing their own research. Same spot then? You read my mind. Of course, it's one of our favorite spots. With a smile on his face, Me makes his way towards you favorite table near the windows and settles down. Meanwhile, you make your way towards the tall bookshelves. Scanning through each spine of each book, you try to look for something that might catch your interest. Minutes passed and nothing seemed to catch your fancy. You sighed upon realizing this predicament. Giving up, you decided to just pick up the closest book and hope for the best, that it's decent enough for your paper. Damn. Feeling a thick book, you pull it out, and nearly dropping it. It's heavy. Regaining your balance, you held on to the thick book properly, and finally checked the title of the massive tome. The Biography of Marie Antoinette. Your eyebrows raise in mild curiosity. This might actually work. You flip it open and you are met with a very well-drawn portrait of a very prestigious-looking woman. Flipping through more pages, your eyes land on a drawn figure of the same woman, but her kneeled before a guillotine. Quite a spoiler. But you read through the text below the illustration. The execution. Such a gruesome end, you thought. Deciding with this book, you tucked it under your arm for safekeeping. You take a look one last time around the bookshelves, maybe finding something of the same genre. You notice a peculiar book sticking out at the very edge of the bookshelf. It was a bit worn out and dirty. You're kind of wondering how it ended up there. You inched a bit closer to it. The spine didn't have anything on it besides a few worn edges, bent and littered with dust. You got on your tiptoes as you reach out to grab the book. However, the moment you grab it and pull it out, the bookshelf started wobbling. You immediately stopped. I'm a curious little bitch, and also, I don't know, I have a big head. I don't think this bookshelf's gonna fall over on me. With determination, you held onto the shelf, making sure not to make it wobble any further as you take a firm grip on the worn book. Come here, you. I got it. Whoa. The bookshelf wobbles from the force of you pulling the lone book, threatening to push you down, making your heartbeat quicken from the sheer thought of getting crushed under the tall shelves. It'll be fine, surely. You quickly held out your arms wide as you tried to rebalance the shelf, hoping it was enough to stop it from shaking. A few books fell then and there, making you wince. But you successfully stabilized the shelf. You let out a breath you didn't realize you were holding. Hope no one heard that. Anyway, what's this that's so stuck to the damn thing? You flip open the cover, only to see a blank page. Yeah, there are usually blank pages, like immediately after the cover of a book. No author whatsoever, save for the paper, the edges of it a bit yellow from age. The dust isn't helping either. You went through a few more pages, and there you finally get to see some printed words on it. The various torture devices and executions of the medieval times. How the fuck did this end up here in the school library? Then again, I might be able to get some material out of this. You shrug. Closing the book, you tucked it under your arm with the large biography book and left the area, returning to where Crow is settled. Welcome back, Kit. Have you found anything useful? Bigger paper? Yeah, I almost died. Took a while, nothing caught my eye from the books, but this one. You raised the large book and showed it to Crow. Queen herself. That's pretty interesting. What kind of paper are you going to make out of it? I was thinking maybe about how a tyrant royal turned good, but was punished regardless for her actions. How does that sound? Crow was silent for a few seconds, making you tilt your head. Maybe he didn't hear you correctly. I read, "You okay there, Crow?" I didn't read the rest of the sentence. I know it was one of those where, like, it's supposed to go by too quick for you to read, but is it not a good idea? That actually sounds nice, Kit. Can I ask what's the inspiration? Oh, I just thought about something today. And about something, you remember your conversation with Hugo back at the rooftop. Also, maybe I could get some extra points from the professor. How so? You said with a wink and a nudge. Crow just chuckled. Is that so? That's very smart of you, Kit. Why, thank you. You did a little bow, tipping your imaginary hat as you did. Crow chuckles at your silly gesture before you two settle down on your seats. You skim through the book, taking a few notes here and there for important bits you could use. Feeling your wrist aching a bit, you stopped scribbling and stretched out your arms, a few squeaks of satisfaction escaping your lips as you can feel the effects of your stretch. At the corner of your eye, he looks like he's going through it. You notice how Crow's eyebrows tend to furrow as he goes through his books. You can feel his legs shaking from underneath the table. The occasional tapping of his pen fills the quiet library. He took a peek on his supposedly report paper, expecting some few words written on it, but instead you were met with a blank sheet, void of words or even a droplet of ink. You're starting to worry. He seems restless about something. Crow? Upon hearing your voice, Crow's legs stop shaking as he turns to face you. You can see the way his expression relaxed, but the lingering feeling of uneasiness never fading. A drop of sweat rolled down from his temple. He's trying so hard to keep a calm face. Yes, Kit, is something the matter? Are you all right? You barely wrote anything and you seem nervous. Did you pick out a scary book? Is something bothering you? Forcing a smile, he tilts his head to the side, as if he doesn't understand what you're concerned about. A soft smile formed on his lips, giving you a false sense of security. Yes, I'm fine. Then he went silent, his eyes returning to staring down on his blank sheet of paper. The silence is quite suffocating, the air now a bit awkward. Your will to write dissipates and was replaced by your concern over the mail beside you. Say, I've got a bit of a scenario for you to play along with, Kit. Huh? Crow's previous gloomy attitude was replaced by a playful one, facing his body towards you with his pen set down, discarding his thoughts from the paper. His sudden change in demeanor caught you by surprise, but he did not spare you a moment to question him as he raised a finger. Imagine yourself living in the same time as the Queen, and that you were given the chance to actually befriend her, even though you came from nothing. You often question how you managed to befriend the Queen herself. She's been nothing but kind to you, often inviting you to her parties and giving you the fanciest gifts ranging from dresses to jewelries. Now here comes my first question. What do you think of the Queen? She's a friend? Well, I'd honestly see her as a friend. She clearly sees me as one. Sure, I'd be a bit embarrassed from the amount of gifts she's giving me. If I was in that situation, I'd be thankful and probably say that her friendship is enough and no amount of physical goods can measure the gratitude I'm feeling towards her. Sure. Crow was silent, a bit awed by your answer. Then a smile broke free on his face. Scratching his cheek, his smile grew wider towards you. Such a noble response. Expected from you, Kit. Now, what is that supposed to mean? You pout, crossing your arms in the process. Crow merely chuckles. Then you can feel his hand brush against yours. Please don't. Squeezing your hand in the process. You swear you can feel your face heating up. Oh, but this scenario isn't over yet. It's not? Nope, here's the follow-up scenario. He sits up properly, removing his hand on yours as you anticipate his next words. Crow takes a breath, almost contemplating on his next words before speaking. What if one day you decided to go out of her palace, wanting to either do groceries or even visit your family, okay? And there is where you see a group of people. They're all mad, each throwing one profanity to another. Upon coming closer, it was about the Queen. Ooh, artwork, okay. You decide to come closer. They're in a heated debate, but the loudest one, a farmer, loudly proclaims on how the Queen betrayed them. How the Queen is nothing but a greedy higher-up, using the commoners' hard-working labor for her to throw parties, leaving them starving. Then the other side speaks up, a woman, saying that the farmer is wrong and that the Queen has been nothing but good to them, providing enough gold and food to keep them afloat. A child came and held onto the woman's leg. Okay, confirming her words. If it weren't for the Queen, the children wouldn't have homes. There you soon realize that they're a group of nuns, and behind them is an orphanage, a few children peeking through the windows as they try to comprehend what is going on and why they are screaming. Having had enough of the fight, you return to the Queen's castle. But when you thought you escaped the circulating argument about the Queen, you hear a few whispers from nobles along the hallway. The Queen is nothing but a fraud. She is nothing but a selfish bitch. She is doing nothing but bringing misery to the people around her. She doesn't fit to be a noble. But that's pretty odd, isn't it? They're the same group of nobles who the queen helps and try to stop war from raging. Why are they talking about her? Is there something you aren't aware of about the queen? Or are they doing it out of pure hatred? He opened his eyes, the light still absent within his blue orbs as he focuses his gaze on your own. He leans a bit back, his form straight and firm. Now, here's where you come in, Kit. Which side do you believe in? The queen, who has been nothing but kind to you, or the rumors circulating around her of being a neglectful noble, a selfish woman, a tyrant? He says the word tyrant, or tryant, with so much venom he spat it out like poison in his teeth. You thought long and hard on this little scenario, multiple thoughts swirling in your head. This all seems so complicated. Take your time. It's fine for you to not respond. Just tell me. It's fine if you don't say anything, but please say something. But I would love to hear your answer, Kit. Personally, I would want to get more information. If because I don't know anything. It could be that she has some sort of like a charity for the nuns in the orphanage and things, and that she's not focusing on the farmers because she's so focused on the nuns and orphans and stuff. And so maybe if she just like redirected her efforts, maybe the farmers are just jealous of the fact that everybody else is getting attention but them. But then also simultaneously, like, there's so much information that I don't know in this situation that I guess I'm leaning more towards I can't answer, because I hit that button every single time. It's right behind me. And every single time I grab my mouse, you just hear. Because I would want to get more information and sort of see both sides to the story before I believe in one side over the other. But I don't I can't answer because I want to answer. It's just I don't have all the information. I'm sorry, I couldn't seem to answer. That's a hard and complex scenario. I do understand the concerns of the other villagers who are mad about how the queen treats them. But on the other hand, the orphanage implies that she actually did something good, saving the lives of children and not starve out in the streets. Ugh, they contradict each other so much. As for the nobles who spread rumors, I've heard a saying that sometimes the rumors get too long, you might think it's true. So do you think those rumors are true, Kit? No, of course not. At the end of the day, they're still rumors, but you couldn't help the fact that it might come to be the truth. I'm sorry, Crow, I couldn't give you a proper answer. No, it's all right, Kit. I think your reasoning is good enough of an answer. In fact, your refusal to speak is a choice in itself. Getting tangled up in problems left and right is tiring, especially if it doesn't involve you. So it's only valid if you don't want to bother yourself in situations that doesn't do anything with you. That's not what I mean. I just mean as in like I said, I want more information. Crow reassures you with his signature calming smile. Seeing his usual attitude made you calm down even just a bit. But you couldn't help the lingering thought of not speaking up, left stinging feeling in your chest. What could you have done at that moment? Shaking away the thoughts, you decided to change the topic. Why did you want me to answer that complicated scenario? Are you secretly making some sort of psychological quiz? The corner of Crow's lips lifted upward, quite amused at your wild assumption. No, that's not it. I just thought it would be a good idea for my paper, am I right? You have to admit it was a good idea and can probably entertain your teacher for quite a bit. Can't believe you let me go through that brain exercise just for this silly paper of ours. Well, better get to writing, Kit. We're almost running out of time. What? But how about you? Your paper's still blank. If I can make up that silly scenario, then I can absolutely make up another one on a whim. Plus, your response is enough to fill in my little writer's block. So I'd like to thank you for helping me. No problem. Ugh, you're so good when it comes to writing stories, Crow. You should be a writer. I'll think about your suggestion. I have no idea what to think about that entire situation. I don't know if there's a deeper meaning there or what just what in general. I don't know. No thoughts, head empty. Stretching out your arms, letting out a sigh of relief, looking at your paper that you've made as you skim through it one last time. You were too caught up in the conversation with Crow, you nearly forgot about the worn book he brought along. You picked it up and started flipping through the first pages. Torture devices, execution devices. Why the fuck are you reading this again? You turned to another page, and on it is a well sketch of a tall and bulk man, half of his face covered by his hood while a large axe is settled behind him. His arms are filled with scars while around his neck is a chained collar. He looks like those killers you often see in slasher films. Underneath the illustration, it reads, Executioner. Some executioners were feared by the public, while the rest respected them, but mostly people shunned them for their field of work. The old times sure were brutal. You mutter under your breath. Closing the book, you then stacked it on top of the other books you and Crow borrowed. Handing out your paper to Crow, he gladly accepts it and stacks it on top with his own paper. Shall we head back? You nod along after you finish stacking the books you borrowed for the librarian or her assistants to get. Can't wait for the day to end. Same here. Crow chuckles as you and him left the library. The day eventually came to an end. Few rays of the sunset light shine through the hallways as you and Crow walked through the hallway. Do you have anything else to do today, Kit? Well, I have to do some quick grocery shopping before I go home. Oh, well, in that case, would you mind me accompanying you? Really? It's fine if you don't have other things to do. Like look for Brittany and the others? Not really. Besides, Daryl has after class practice, same with Gio. As for Brittany and Jess, they're catching up on their business proposal. But don't you also need to catch up? I can do them tomorrow. I'd like to spend the rest of the day with you, Kit. Your voice got caught up in your throat. You can feel your face heating up. Stupid Crow. Stupid feelings. All right then. Crow lets out a small cheer, kind of like a mini jump from that game with the Italian plumber. It made you giggle a bit. Without wasting much time, you and Crow head out of the school campus. The sun slowly sets in the horizon after you and Crow finish up buying some groceries. Crow offered to take your bags and walk you home all the way back to your apartment, just like the day before. We should do this every day. But don't you live on the other side of the city? Nothing wrong with that. Plus, my place isn't that far from school anyway, so walking to your apartment and back is nothing to me. Don't tell me you're the kind of person who would travel from one city to another while saying it's walkable. Crow laughs, shrugging his shoulders as if saying, maybe. I love walking, especially during the night, and most especially when the stars are out. I kind of agree with that. You stare at him up and down, your eyes often lingering on his hand. The temptation of holding it was gnawing at you, making you fidgety. This doesn't come unnoticed by Crow as he gradually slowed down until he came to a stop, setting down the groceries. He stopped as well, raising a brow in concern as he looked at you with keen eyes. Do you feel cold? No. What makes you think of that? Without much of a warning, he takes both of your cold hands, cupping them in between his large ones as he begins to blow on them, his warm breath easing your cold fingertips. Your hands are now warm, but they couldn't compare to the heat of your face reaching to the tips of your ears. You keep shivering, so I thought I could warm you up a bit. I'm sorry I don't have a jacket, and I doubt my vest could do much to help. It's all right, Crow. You don't need to. Your face is all red. Are you cold? Do you want to hold my hand during our walk? No. It's all right, Crow. Besides, I can warm myself up once we get to my apartment. Crow smiled dejectedly. All right. But do tell me if you need any help. Thanks, bro. You're already doing a lot by carrying my grocery bags, Crow. This is more than enough. He chuckles, muttering a soft, "Oh, right," before picking the bag up and holding it with one hand. You and Crow continue on with your walk. Drip? Huh? Drop. Is it gonna start raining? That's odd. Something the matter? I kind of feel something dripping on me. Oh, fuck! Yep. What seemed to be a soft drizzle suddenly turned into a wild downpour. You and Crow made a run for it, trying your best to keep yourselves dry as Crow shielded your groceries from getting wet. Thankfully, the sight of your apartment complex came to view from a few feet away. A relieved sigh escaped past your lips. You turned to Crow, who was doing everything he could to keep your bag dry, not even caring about the droplets of rain rolling down his cheek and his damp hair that clung to his face. Just a few more steps, Crow. We're almost there. You ran up the road, hearing Crow's heavy footfalls following behind you. All of a sudden, Crow stops. His head turned to the bushes, his eyes growing wide as he opened his mouth in a near gasp. Crow? What's wrong? Oh, one sec. Let's get these groceries and you to a cover. Huh? Crow hastily shoves your semi-damp plastic bag towards you. Damn! Your arms suddenly carrying the weight of your groceries. You blinked a few times in confusion. Crow, what? Whoa! Without much warning, Crow lifts you off the ground. Hello? What? With one of his arms wrapped around your shoulders and the other under your knees, he hoists you up. The shock from your feet leaving the pavement floor caused you to shriek as you clung around Crow's... What? Clung around Crow's neck. I can't read, apparently. Leaving his damp body press against yours. That's not what it said, but whatever. Jericho, what on earth? We're full naming you. Crow runs up to your apartment, carrying you like your weight meant nothing in his arms. He seemed distracted, your protests going unheard. This is certainly a sound effect. Once he makes it to your doorstep, he sets you down before turning around and running back the way he came. Okay, bye. Get inside the apartment. I'll be right back. You gripped your grocery bag tight as you stared at his figure, your heart drumming quite loudly within your chest. Did he just pick me up and carry me all the way to my apartment that easily? I don't like not being on the ground, so... Thank you, but please leave. I don't know. He barely even grunted. For someone so lean, you never expected him to actually lift you like a sack of feathers. You start wondering if he works out. I don't care. You were too dazed, head afloat from what just occurred, to realize that Crow finally came back. You gasped as he took his entire body, now awfully drenched from head to toe, his hair dripping with water. His shoes sloshed as he walked, and his wet clothes clung to his skin. You noticed his vest missing, then you spotted in his arms, wrapped around something. All right, I have no guesses as to what this could be. A sound came from the bundle that he carried in his arms, causing you to snap out of your thoughts. Did I just hear his vest meow? Yeah, that normally happens with vests. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's get inside before we get any colder. What kind of cat is it, Crow? Once you and Crow made it inside your apartment, the first thing you did was grab 3 different towels. One for you, one for Crow, and one for your little new friend. I couldn't bear to leave him in the cold rain. Poor guy must have gotten abandoned by its mother. Okay. I like black cats. My favorite are tuxedos. But black cats are pretty cool too. Wrapped in the small towel was a tiny black kitten. You know, we should be thankful that my landlord wasn't at his usual desk, right? Pets aren't allowed here? Other than that, Crow paused a bit, understanding where you're coming from. A low chuckle left his lips, scratching his wet cheek. He probably won't appreciate the puddle we made on his doorstep. Precisely. You both let out a small, awkward laugh, hoping that you wouldn't get caught the following day by the cameras around. Shoving the thought aside, you and Crow stare at the kitten now wrapped within the towel, its beady eyes seemingly staring at both of you before breaking into mews and meows. You can feel your heart melt, and so did Crow's. I'll take care of this little guy for now. You should probably dry up, Crow. Oh, is that okay? I didn't expect to actually end up staying in your place. I won't be long, though. I'll get out of your hair as soon as I dry up. I honestly don't mind you staying a bit longer. It's not a problem. I don't want you to catch a cold because of me. Well, we'll take turns then. After I dry up, I'll take care of the kitten next. Let me get you something to change. Like what? There's really no need for. Not giving him a chance to protest, you quickly head out to your bedroom. Rummaging through your drawers and cabinets, you try to find something that could fit Crow. Then you remember the oversized shirt you received during last sports day. Okay. You never understood as to why everyone needed to buy that shirt, but when you got yours, they ran out of your own size, and you had no choice but to accept the shirt that was 1 size bigger than yours, of course, because this school is a nightmare. Taking it out of the drawer, you make your way back. You head back to the living room, seeing Crow, who remained still in his spot. His shirt had partly dried, and he had taken the kitten into his arms. The little creature was snugly wrapped in its warm blanket, reminding you of a burrito. The sight of Crow gently holding the kitten pierced the soft spot in your heart. This view was to die for, and you would have spent a few more seconds admiring it had you not noticed Crow's shoulders shaking from the cold. You're shivering. Nothing I can't handle. Lies. That cat is doing a better job at getting warm than you. You teasingly roll your eyes at Crow as you shove the shirt and another fresh towel in his direction. He chuckles, forced to give up the kitten to you as he accepts the change of clothes. Carrying the kitten in your arms, you lead Crow to your bathroom, and he thanks you before stepping in and closing the door behind him. Hearing the tweak of the valve and the familiar sound of the shower running, you remember how Crow shivered all the way to the bathroom. You turn your heater up a bit before settling back down on the couch. You return your attention to the kitten, its fur now dry thanks to you and Crow. The small feline looks up at you and meows, its little beady eyes staring up at yours. You put a finger on its head, petting it gently. You must be hungry, little guy. You're lucky I just went out grocery shopping, yeah? Did you pick something up for cats? Scooping the tiny kitten in your arms, you make your way towards your kitchen. What do we got? Interesting fridge, okay. Setting the kitten down on the counter, you rummage through your fridge and cupboards for a clean bowl. Don't do what I think you're going to do. Yep, almond milk. You pick up your grocery bag from the floor, placing it on the kitchen table as you look for the almond milk you remember getting. Heating the milk just warm enough, you observe the kitten as it breaks free from its warm confinement and looks around. Hold on, legitimately, we have to, right now, look up whether or not kittens can have almond milk. Kitten almond milk, because I know they can't have milk. It won't kill them, will upset their stomach, and could cause diarrhea. Yeah, often causing severe digestive upset like vomiting and diarrhea. Interesting. What a choice, both for the fact that I personally am allergic to nuts, so, I would not be buying almond milk. But that's okay. And then secondly, you're not supposed to give cats milk to begin with. I don't think that rule changes just because it's almond. The cat shivering in fear and caution from the unknown territory, yet remaining curious enough to look around. Setting the warm bowl of milk in front of the cat, you grabbed a chair, patiently waiting as it creeped closer to the bowl. It takes one lap of the milk, then another, then one more before it happily drinks it up. A warm smile makes its way to your face. Hi. Seems you've gotten yourself all settled in. You look nicer with this shirt on, at least. You hear Crow's slightly amused voice, and you turn around to face him. You momentarily stop at the sight of him standing there, wearing the fresh shirt you handed him with a towel around his neck. Now out of its usual braids, his hair was let loose, a few droplets dripping from the semi-dry strands. I wish I could speak. Thank you for letting me use your bathroom, Kit. You don't mind me hanging my vest, right? I don't mind. In fact, I can hand you your stuff tomorrow if you'd like. Crow didn't answer you as he pointed his gaze downwards, dipping his head in an attempt to conceal the slight tint of pink brushing along his cheeks. He rubs his arm, a hint of embarrassment in his voice. Sorry, I didn't think I would end up staying here a bit. But I'm thankful either way. Also, isn't this the first time I've been to your apartment? You're telling me. You've got a nice place. Oh crap, he's actually right. You never really got any visitors save for your father and your landlord. Other than that, you've never had anyone visit here until now. And it's Crow, too. Just you two. Alone. I'm probably talking too much. You should get changed, too. Crow's voice snaps you out of your thoughts, and you look up to realize that he had already picked up the kitten from the counter. Crow holds it in his arms, the feline faintly purring as it snuggles close to his chest, relishing in his warmth. Never thought you'd see the day you'd be jealous over a cat, but here we are. Getting up from your chair, you accompany Crow back into the living room before going to change as well. The sound of the shower head running fills your ears as you look down on your bathroom's white tiles, observing the water run down towards the sinkhole. The water's heater helps you warm up a bit, but you couldn't help the thoughts running through your mind. Thoughts that were mostly consumed by Crow. And the cat. Who's going to keep it? Why did he save it? And most importantly, how long is he planning to stay here? You look up, seeing his soaked vest and polo hanging from one of the bathroom railings. You should probably throw that in the dryer along with yours after. You let out a sigh, not wanting to waste any more water, and probably spend the next 30 minutes contemplating your life in the shower. You got out, dried yourself, and got yourself dressed. You returned to the living room, finding that Crow had made himself comfortable on your couch, with the cat happily settled in his lap as he gives it a few pets. Sensing your presence, Crow lifts his head and his eyes perk upon landing on your figure. Welcome back. The cat's starting to relax. It's almost as if it belongs in this place. He chuckles. You made your way to him and you sink in the couch right by his side. I want to look at the cat. Stop showing me him. Can I just... Let me look at the cat. That's such a small cat. Like, I know it's a kitten, but that's so small in comparison. Okay. You gaze up at the cat curled in his lap. Up? Where am I? And purring away in content. You bit your bottom lip. Cat 2. Kid 0. Have you thought about a name yet? Actually, no. I'm never really good with names. How about you? Have you thought of a name for it? I could come up with something stupid. He tilts his head to the side, awaiting your answer to his inquiry. I could come up with something stupid for it. Give me a second. Ooh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was going to give me a list or if I was going to have to like write it in. Hold on, I didn't prepare for this because I have so many different thoughts. I have so many different thoughts here. I like jokingly, but I normally do this for fish, naming small animals like some sort of food. I was debating because normally I would name like the biggest fish in a tank snack and the smallest one dinner, because you generally think that like dinner is going to be your big meal and then snack's going to be like your small meal. So it's funny, one, because I'm not going to eat that fish, but then two, also because you know the expectations of size. I don't know that I would name a cat dinner. That's kind of mean. I always name when I'm playing a game and I get like a tuxie in the game, I always name it Socks because I'm a basic bitch. And like I'm never gonna have a cat in real life, right? We've talked about this before, but I guess I didn't technically talk about it in this. I'm allergic to cats. I'm a really big cat person. I love cats a lot. I'm allergic to them. So I'm never going to have a cat. And so I always like vicariously live through video games. And I'm like, if I'm going to have a cat in a video game, I'm going to go for the basic bitch Socks name because it's never going to happen in real life. But that is a tuxie name and not a black cat name. I don't know what I would name a black cat. Honestly, truly, hold on. Shit, I'm normally like so good at naming stupid names. But now I'm in the same boat as he is. Nothing sounds good. I had a dream once. It was about a dog though. Where there was this all black dog that had showed up in my backyard and I just decided to keep it. And its name was Edge for some reason. And then when I woke up, I thought it'd be really funny if its legal name was Microsoft Edge, but I called it Mike for a short. But in the dream, it was Edge. I'm just rambling about pet names now. I don't know. Fuck it. You can choose. Apparently, I can't think of a name, so now you get to do it. Why don't you try? Me? But the names I usually give are quite corny. Yo, did we just did we not just go through every name that I was trying to think of? Those were corny as all hell. Go for it. Come on, it's not that bad. Crow scans your face for confirmation. He genuinely seemed to think that that wasn't the best option for the task, but you clearly saw that glimmer of hope in his eyes. Oh, he wants to? Go for it then. Are you sure? Of course I am. Are you really, really sure? Yes, Crow. You roll your eyes in mock annoyance before giggling. Seeing that you're not budging from your choice, he sighs in defeat with a little troubled smile on his face. I just want to know the name that you're going to pick. Goddamn. Crow gazes at your ceiling in deep thought. He hums, biting the inner of his cheek as he closes his eyes, taking on the seemingly very serious task of giving the cat a good name. It is serious. Crow looks down at the kitten in consideration, and his blue eyes mirrored his blue orbs as they stared at each other. Ah. How about Regulus? He picks up the cat and lovingly cradles it like a parent to their baby, letting the kitten rest on his right arm and booping its nose as he did so. Named after the brightest star in the Leo constellation. Okay. Plus his eyes are blue. What does that have to do with anything? Crow turns to you, seemingly excited as he holds the cat in front of you, showing its eyes. You've got to agree its eyes are blue. The feline's dark fur accentuates its eyes further, helping it pop like a twinkling star in the night sky. You thought it was just like Crow to name the cat after I don't like that one. Hold on. No, fuck that. I'm not sure about that, actually. Hold on, I've got to think of something better than that. I have a few wild cats that live near my house, right? I've talked about them before in videos. I've named all of them. And when they come by my house, I'm like, oh, hello, you're back. And like I said before, I'm allergic to cats. So all that I do is say hello to them, because I can't do anything else. But I'm debating doing something like based off of their names, because we have Weird is one of them. The other cat that goes along with Weird, is Earther. So I'm wondering about going in the same vein. I have a dragon stuffed animal that I named Meathager. Or we could just drop the R. I don't know whether or not the R is required in that name, but also that's already used. So you know what? I will let you name it solely because I was mean to you for the constellation name, and then I pulled up fucking mythology. We are the same kind of nerd, actually. You recall how he thought it was corny, but to you it was endearing that Crow manages to leave traces of himself on things. I think that's a beautiful name. You don't think it's too complicated? Or too corny? No. Corny? No. In fact, it's quite nerdy. Crow scoffs playfully, pretending to be offended. He blows away a stray hair that got to his face and gives you an incredulous look. Seriously? You laugh, giving him a little nudge at the shoulder. He merely rolls his eyes at your teasing. I mean that in a loving way. I think it's cute how you're nerding out, especially with your fondness for astrology. You lean in Crow's direction, gently petting the kitten in his arms. With your attention on the feline, you did not notice Crow hold his breath at your proximity. He cleared his throat, chuckling. Well, as long as you think it's cute, especially since this little guy is cute too. He coos at the cat in his arms. Anyway, do you want something to eat? I can heat up some Hot Pockets. That's very me. That would be wonderful. The sun had set beyond the horizon hours ago, and you could see the sky painted black from your window. With the rain still pouring just as hard as before, Crow decides to stay a little bit longer to enjoy your company. The kitten sleeps soundly on a nearby makeshift bed that you made together with Crow. You sit beside him on the couch, the living room dimly lit with nothing but the television running what seems to be a slasher film. Okay, hear me out. Why did they have to make the serial killer so hot in this movie? Excuse me? I mean, look at him. He's clearly a pretty boy with that blonde hair and charming smile. And that makes sense, right? Especially with this killer in the movie. Cunning and charming, he's a good manipulator, having to entice people so that he can kill them in the end. Why is your arm like that? It does not look like it's on the back of the couch at all. You look like you're zombieing out. Throws the detectives off, right? I guess that makes sense. They did a good job casting whoever the killer is. He's pretty good. You know the actor? No? How about you? Surprised you don't know him. He's one of the best multi-talented idol in Titus City. Hello. You cast your eyes back to the screen and you're greeted by the serial killer's actor. Golden hair dyed with pink tips, rose pink eyes that shone brightly, and a smile that was so alluring and magnetic it was hard to tear your gaze away. He almost looks like an actual angel. He's known as Eries. Besides being an actor, he's also a singer and a model. Damn. Sounds like a big shot. He's also Jess's favorite actor. Did you know? Jess owns the biggest fan page for this guy and has been recognized by him and many fans. That reminds me of that one, real life person who's in their 60s, who's a big fan of some actor, but I don't know. I don't know many things about actors. I don't really watch movies or TV, so. Really? That's quite an achievement. I agree. With a face card like that, how could anyone not fall for him? Don't tell me he's your type. Not really. No, yeah, he sure is handsome, but he's not really my type. For a second, Crow's eyes flickered with hope before disappearing. Instead, a smile is plastered on his face. Sorry, I'm laughing at with the hope. That's good. I don't know why that made me giggle so much. Huh? Nothing. The room fell silent afterwards, with neither of you uttering a word. As a television becomes background noise, you unconsciously fiddle with your fingers. You found it difficult to focus on the movie as you start feeling conscious of the male beside you. From your peripheral vision, you try to discreetly check up on Crow, only to realize that his whole attention was already on you. So, your heartbeat races. Hey, Kit, if given the chance, if you could have anything in the world, what would it be? Another one of your little trivia questions, Crow? You laugh lightheartedly, attempting to ease the atmosphere. Yet Crow did not seem to be on board as you shut yourself up quickly. You bit your lips as you felt Crow leaning in close to your face, his breath brushing against your cheek. The movie becomes muffled in incoherent noise, as the rapid beating of your heart floods your eardrums. Why don't you answer first? He chuckles slowly, sending a shiver down your spine. Crow surprises you when he rests his head on your shoulder. Hello? The intimate gesture making your heart stop. Before you could say anything else, I want to leave. I want to leave my own apartment. He buries his face in the crook of your neck, making you freeze. You prayed he wouldn't hear just how loudly your heart is beating. Dodging the question this time, huh? Well, if I were to have anything in the world, I'd love to have more time, okay? Nope, go away. Go away. Kind of selfish of me, huh? At this point, you aren't sure if he's talking to you or with himself. You glance at Crow from the corner of your eye, noticing his downcast gaze. He smiled at himself, but all you could see was that desperate expression he failed to suppress. You did not dare ask what was wrong. At a loss for words, you chose to remain silent. You stayed in that position with Crow for what felt like a minute. A whole minute, whoa. The hurt on his beautiful face replaying in your head. You swallowed and lifted a hand, gently placing it on the back of his head. You relaxed when you felt Crow ease up on your touch. Taking that as a sign, you proceeded to stroke his hair, brushing along his now soft and dry locks between your fingers. I should probably get going. Already? He pulls away and looks at you straight in the eyes. Multiple swirls of emotions fill his dull orbs. Drowsiness, uncertainty, longing. With one last exhale, Crow finally gets off of you and stands up, a few groans escaping his lips as he stretches his limbs. With his hands on his hips, he gives you a smile. You couldn't shake off the feeling that it was done just to reassure you. The rain is slowing down a bit, plus it's getting quite late. I haven't contacted my relatives yet, so they might really be worried by now. Are you sure you don't want to stay the night? You want to say it so bad. You really, really want to, but you couldn't. You shouldn't. You clench the fabric of your shirt above where your painfully beating heart lies. You're probably right. Let me get your clothes from the dryer. I'll see you out. Thank you, Kit. You're the best of the best. Thank you. I know I am. Are you sure you'll be Who's keeping the cat? Is it my cat or your cat? Are you sure you'll be fine, Crow? I already called my driver. I'll probably get an earful from him, but that's all right. They're probably going to question me about the cat, but I'll think of an excuse. Okay, you're keeping the cat. Cool. I'm sorry I couldn't keep him with me. That is fair. Apartment doesn't allow pets. No, it's all right. In fact, I already know who would be the perfect cat owner for them. Damn, neither one of us is keeping the cat. What the fuck? At least let me live vicariously through you, Crow. Damn it. With the kitten cradled in his arms, Crow did a mock-up face of a grumpy person, exaggerating his expression with his cheeks puffed and shoulders raised. You could only make a wild guess on the mysterious identity. It was a shame that your apartment had a no pets policy, and the fact that you knew absolutely no one who could take care of the kitten. After talking it out with Crow, he decided to take the kitten with him. Thankfully, you had a few spare boxes lying around, and you gave one for Crow to place the kitten in. Today's been fun, Crow. His brows raised in mild surprise, then a soft smile painted his features. With his dominant hand, he ruffles the top of your head, messing your hair a bit and earning him a chuckle. Hey now. I had fun too, Kit. See you tomorrow? Yeah, see you tomorrow. Hello? Get away from me. You moved to close the door, but stopped by the sudden sensation of something soft landing on your forehead. This is probably a height difference that makes sense, though. Your eyes travel up, realizing that Crow had just given you a tender kiss near your brow. While your face heated up, your brain short-circuited at the feeling of his soft lips lingering on your skin. Good night, Kit. Get out of here, my God. I'm gonna kick you down the stairs. He gives you a casual wave. The cat. I still don't like that name, but I couldn't think of anything else. We should have just named it the cat. Peeking out of his box to give you one last look as if bidding you a goodbye before you finally closed your door. That tease. Huh? She's finally back, huh? Whatever that means. Come on, let's go home. To be continued. I had a feeling that was going to be the end. And there we start at the beginning again. I have multiple thoughts. My least favorite thing about this is the fact that I was forced to go through all of that with Crow when I'm not playing this damn game for Crow. So now I feel like I should do it again in order to do what I actually want. You know, like, there's not enough customization in this game that I can't be true to myself as a person and also have my own feelings in the game. Because that's not what I was here to play. God damn it, I don't want to play this game again.